This is Bree
and Andiah,
and their adventures through the mind.
The title of this episode is The Epiphany that occurs during TOK.
Alright, so TOK. What is TOK's theory of knowledge? It's our fifth period class.
Stop, I'm a newbie in case you didn't know. So our first question that we'll be discussing is, how did the crossing the line activity change the way we view each other?
I feel like there were like a lot of questions that like
yeah there were
that made me like think about people.
Yeah, there were a couple of ones that made me mad.
Oh, there was one specifically that still makes me mad to this day, and I want to know if her answer is still the same, because that's kind of...
But I think that's interesting because we got to see some true colors out of like some of the people that we were close to, and then also people that we weren't necessarily as familiar with.
Yeah, like, I mean, when Alex went up for
that was a big thing, the racism.
Yeah, do you think you're racist? Like, nobody else but Alex crossed that line.
Which was really interesting because it actually made me think about it and consider what his thought process was in doing that.
And we spent like a whole like week and a half talking about it too. Like, it was... No,
because at first I was really mad. But then he tried to explain it that it was that everybody has like thoughts that are racist, which I'm like, maybe that comes from everybody can't understand everything about like cultural differences or just even like, I don't know. But I thought that was really interesting. And then people that we're close to. Somebody went up and said, what was it? It was like,
do you think you're smarter than all of your friends?
Yeah. And it was somebody that we're, we considered friend.
Yeah.
And they... But it was... I don't know. I think that made me rethink
the friendship itself.
And also like some of the differences in the people that I considered friends and like where we actually like connect.
And I feel like there's no real way of being smarter than someone in every aspect either. Like, it's like everyone is smart in their own ways.
Yeah. Like Bree, you so shine in that creative like aspect. Like, I can't even do it. And it's just, it doesn't mean that you're smarter than me. It doesn't mean that I'm smarter than you. It's just a different kind of
we have a different way of thinking.
Yeah.
And our adventures through the minds are different.
Yes. Slay.
I hate that.
Okay. Our second question is, how did the Barbie dance affect finals week and why was it helpful?
I need that right now.
Oh yeah,
I'm
stressed.
Barbie dance.
I'm like, actually, it's really stressful.
Ryan took me out.
No, yeah, I think that definitely like having, especially since it's like a class that's required if you want the IB diploma, having that one class and then having all the other classes that we have being like heavy in finals and like very like, they affected your grade a lot. Yeah. And so I don't know. I think that
like just dancing as my final, like, one of the best feelings I've ever gotten. Because, one, it was a fun dance. Two, we got to choose the dance, or not choose the dance, but choose the group we were dancing with, and like the partners, because we also did the cha-cha with it too, right? After the dance.
Oh yeah, the cha-cha. Yeah, I think that like also like just doing the dancing was another way of like.
And then we had like a party afterwards too. Yeah. Like, it was like we did it all, and then we just like had a dance party, and like all the song girls.
I still think about that. I still think about that because it was such like a connected moment. I think it was better than any of the dances I've been to.
Yeah.
Because it was actually, people were actually comfortable with each other because we'd gotten to that point, and I think that it was just, I think it was really cool.
I feel like everyone, like by that point, we were also like, because half the class is in the IB, like candidate selection, whatever it is, and then like we all just at that point we have sympathy for each other, and like we're there for each other, and like it's just this new bond with people that I didn't think I'd ever have, and like having that like dance party afterwards, and like having the dance be our final, like it was just it's like a weight lifted off my shoulders.
Yeah, no, I agree actually. Okay, moving on to our next question. How did the seating chart throughout the year affect the environment and the comfortability of the class with each other? So like at the beginning of the year, we had like we all sat in like very divided areas.
Yeah.
And then throughout the year, Miss Newbie tried to like move us around.
She made us sit next, like, I mean,
Yeah.
you could sit next to one person you sat next to. Like, you could have your best friend with you.
And then
you had to sit by someone else, too.
I was just talking about this with Violet. It was that one day we sat next to each other, and then Nick sat next to us, and we had a really in-depth conversation with Nick.
No, me, Matthew, and Emery did that, too. Like, I didn't think that we'd actually, like, get to know each other. And, like, I don't know, I had to ask Emery for, like, a pad or something.
Yeah.
And Matthew and me and Emery just started talking about it. And, like, it was a really good conversation. And I was like, oh, this is nice. Like, I forgot, like, who these people were as people, because I just saw them as, like, oh, these are my classmates. Like, I know them from sports, or I know them from, like, theater.
Yeah.
And, like, all this stuff. But, like, then, like, people became real people when I sat next to them and were actually able to talk to them.
Yeah, I thought it was very interesting because I actually got to talk to Nick about things that I hadn't talked to him about in a while, and it was already an uncomfortable environment.
Yeah.
And so then me and Violet were talking to him, and we were like, I don't know, I thought it was good because I felt like it was like that stage and like where you're like, okay, like I'm older now.
Yeah.
Like in
more
like
mature,
reflecting back on like who like we were in freshman year when we were all like friends. And I think that was very interesting.
Yeah. I've liked hanging out with Nick. It's been nice. Like, it's just like a, like, you're cool. Like, you know.
I think that he's definitely, like, changed as a person, as
He's
have
grown.
I. Yeah,
like,
he's definitely grown. Oh my god.
We've all grown a lot. And, like,
I
it's,
think, I think that's very interesting.
It's nice to see, too.
But then we never, went back to doing that where we would change seats.
I know, like,
and it helped like get comfortable with people, but we all
went back to when we started at the beginning of the year.
And I don't like that. I'm not comfortable with it, but it's uncomfortable to go out and sit somewhere where you're not expected.
I've been sitting by myself in a corner.
No, it's been I'm sorry. I don't wanna I want to branch out, but I don't know how.
No,
so it's like
it makes sense. I'm just like, there's nowhere else to sit. So
no, I agree.
In this
Also,
corner and
I
I
feel like the like desks make it hard because I have to sit where a desk is because I want to do my work, but then I don't want to sit alone at a desk. Yeah, and I don't know. I think that at the beginning of the year I liked it better when it was a circle of chairs because it felt more like less cliquey.
Yeah, now we're just in like groups.
Yeah. How did people leaving the class change the dynamic of the class?
Well, speaking of groups, groups change so much. Because especially when, like, Elise left.
Yeah.
Like, that changed, like, the dynamic between Finn and that whole group.
Oh,
and,
yeah,
like,
they used to argue all the time.
I saw a video of them actually doing the tortilla slap challenge.
Oh, yeah, that was so funny.
I didn't think they'd actually do it.
Yeah. I don't know. And then also, like, when Everett left, I feel like that, like, divided the group that was, like, Alex and Nick and Amanda.
Yeah.
Which Amanda stopped showing up.
I've seen Amanda, like, twice.
Yeah, no. And it was really...
After Everett left.
I get it. She's a senior. But still, she stopped showing up. And I don't know. I think that changed that group. Because they've... I don't know why that sticks out to me, but they've been moving around a lot. And I don't know, I think that's interesting. And then also Layla leaving, because she had to take physics, was like, I don't know, I feel like that affected the environment of especially Eleanor too, actually.
Yeah, the two of them, like, they had such, like, I felt differing ideas from so many other people, and, like, their conception of things were more, like, I don't know, it felt more free.
Yeah.
And they were so much more open about sharing, and then it started that conversation, and everyone wanted to share. And, like, share their opinions, and then Finn would get involved, and then everyone else would get involved, and, like, it was just, like...
I miss the way that we used to have class discussions, because I feel like we haven't, like, talked freely as a class and shared our actual, like, ideas, because that was...
I feel like the last time we did that was with Barbie, and we all just, like, hounded Finn.
Yeah,
like,
that wasn't
good.
I think that... I think that a little bit was me, because I was definitely...
Well, I was getting mad too. Like, I don't understand your views. And I'm trying to say, like, I don't know. I was talking to Dorothy about it after class too. And I was like, I was like, well, it feels weird because he's not taking our side into consideration. Like, he's not.
I think he just likes to argue, which is fine.
And then, thinking about it now, like, talking about him, like, I didn't take his side into consideration. Like, I wasn't thinking about where he could be coming from. I was thinking more of, why are you saying this about this group of people? And, like,
yeah. I think that me and Finn actually talked about it outside of class and both said that we understood, like, the other person's opinion, because I think we both had, like, a roundabout, like, kind of discussion where we were both, like, starting out going in opposite directions, and somehow we ended up meeting, which was very interesting. And I think it's just because the way we communicated wasn't the same, and so we couldn't, like, understand what the other person was trying to get to, which I thought was really interesting. And then the 5th question that we have is, how did Newbie yelling at us about actually doing our work change the class?
I feel like that was, like, I don't know, it changed me a lot, because right before she, like, had that whole conversation with us, like, I went up to her and I was like, can you please grade this stuff, like, I'll get it done by Friday, like, I'll have it, and she just flat out told me no, and then we had that discussion, and I started crying, because I was like, oh, this is about me, like, she, like, looked at me a couple of times, and I was like, uh-oh.
Yeah.
And, like, I don't know, I still don't turn on all my work on time.
That's I don't either.
But I feel like I've tried harder. Like, I feel like even if I don't turn it in on time, like, I've put a little bit more effort into it. Except for
I think that one of the things one of the things that really stuck out to me was when she talked about that, like, people were turning in things and they were just giving her, like, garbage.
Yeah.
And they weren't thinking, and they're like, oh, but I thought nobody was gonna read it. But she has to read it, and I think that changed the way that I think about a lot of the work that I do in other classes too.
Yeah.
And it's not that I necessarily always think that I turn in garbage, just that now I think about that before I turn something in. Is what she's, what she said. Is someone
actually gonna be, like, okay with reading it, or are they gonna think, like, oh, this is, like, hot garbage, like, like, I don't want to read this, like, I have to sit through so many of these and all this stuff. I was thinking about that with my Ryan final. Like, oh, it's not good, and there's so many spelling mistakes. I hate writing paper. But anyway.
And that is our podcast. I hope you have a wonderful day.